Hello, and welcome to Beat Poverty in America with Dawn Hills and guest Geraldine Convento.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Dawn. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm so excited and honored to introduce you to my guest. You
Me
are very
too.
special to me, so I'm super excited. What I'd like to do next is introduce you. I'm going to read your bio to make sure that I get it correctly, and then we're going to move to talking points.
Sounds good.
Excellent. Geraldine Convento is an entrepreneur and web presence expert. She owns multiple companies and leads a global team of creatives and strategists that support individuals, entrepreneurs, and organizations in showing up authentically throughout their website platforms. Together, they advise clients on which platform would be effective for achieving their vision, assisting with implementation, and teach methods for expanding each their reach. I'm gonna redo that because I got a pop-up that messed with me. Hello, and welcome to Beat Poverty in America with Dawn Hills and guest Geraldine Convento.
Hey, everyone. And Dawn, thanks for having me.
It is my pleasure. I'm excited and honored to introduce you to my individuals, circle of influences, as well as my clients, future clients. So, what I'll do next is I'll read your bio and then we'll go directly into talking points. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
Excellent. Geraldine Convento is an entrepreneur and web presence expert. She owns multiple companies and leads a global team of creatives and strategists that support individuals, entrepreneurs, and organizations in showing up authentically throughout their website platforms. Together, they advise clients on which platforms would be effective for achieving their vision, assist them with implementation, and teach methods for expanding their reach. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce Geraldine Convento.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, the talking points I'd like to address would be who are you? I know you, but I'd like you to introduce yourself. And then in the 30 seconds or less, what is your why?
My name is Geraldine Convento. I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area, and I've been an entrepreneur for the past 16 years. I have 5 businesses and have figured out how to be able to do that and still have work-life balance and a life that I really love to lead. My personal mission is that individuals and the greater society feel more empowered and less confused. So everything I do in terms of my businesses as well as the connections and networks that I build around me is really devoted to that.
Mm, I look forward to learning more about that and sharing it with our audience. The next bullet point I'd like you to dive into is your personal commitments uh, that you ensure that individuals and the greater society feel more empowered and less confused. What are your professional passions?
One thing that I've observed over time is that many people have hopes and dreams or ideas of things that they would like to pursue over time.
Mm,
And oftentimes they do not get pursued because of life circumstance. So that might be because of family commitments, different types of challenges or traumas that have occurred in their life, or full-time jobs that really prevent them from being able to invest the time that's necessary to start something new.
mm,
So my personal commitment to making sure that people feel more empowered and less confused has to do with giving them the resources that they need to see if those dreams are actually things that they'd like to pursue, and also the education or tools that they need to figure out their way. One thing that I've learned in my personal journey is that the only way to see if a dream is for you is to pursue it. And sometimes it's not as easily accessible to have the paths or the know-how to do it. And through every company that I've created, I've made sure that we create systems, ways of informing our clients so they can make educated decisions, and given them resources so that they can figure out, is this for me? And a big part of that, you mentioned personal or professional passions,
Yes.
is that I'm consistently reading. I love reading about neuroscience, communication, self-development, marketing, business, entrepreneurship. And I love to explore what's out there so I can figure out as I'm in a conversation with people, oh, and my little computer in my mind just brings it up like, oh, have you ever heard of this? Or are you connected with this person? Let me fill those needs for you, or let me connect the dots for you. So that way you don't feel like, oh, that's something that I'd like to do, but I just don't know how, or there's no way I could ever do that. I don't want people to feel that way.
That is so insightful. I sincerely appreciate the depth of insight you take to address entrepreneurs and business owners, because they're like sand, very different, even though they're all granules and small, but they're all individually different. Share with our audience how you differentiate how to work with an entrepreneur versus working with a business owner.
What's the difference between the two? This, we don't have to include this part, but in your opinion, what's the difference? Because to me, they're kind of the same.
And that's important. The difference for me is an entrepreneur is a serial entrepreneur. They have grit, and they feel the need to be independent and build from inside out. A business owner, to me, is more of a person looking to build a certain widget or thing that they're passionate around or are passionate about. Whereas a serial entrepreneur, it's that inner grit and drive. No matter what that thing is, that's what has to be. That's what has to persevere. Some people, like business owners, may get another job and be okay with, sharing that dual energy. Whereas an entrepreneur, that's their soul.
Yeah. Can you? I think it'll be clearer for me and the audience if you kind of make the difference, describe the difference between the two. Because the way that you're describing business owner, I could see what you mean. It's like they just want a structure to make more money, or they
Right.
want a side hustle to make more money. But an entrepreneur who has the vision of being a serial entrepreneur, like owning
Yes.
multiple businesses, they are, like you said, they have the grit, they have the drive, and they really want something that's bigger than them, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
So can we restate that? So I think your original question was, tell us what oh gosh,
Difference.
yeah, tell us what the difference is with how you would work with a entrepreneur that's looking to build multiple bit, like that's entrepreneur that's looking to be a serial entrepreneur versus a business owner.
That is correct.
Okay.
And the question again is the difference between a business owner and a serial entrepreneur. How do you work with them? The business owner is wanting a side hustle. The entrepreneur wants to become focused as an entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur, building from inside out.
This is such a great question, Dawn. And I've never really thought of it, my business in that way. Like I inherently, just due to the nature of who we work with, this is what happens. There is a difference between the business owner, the person who's just looking to build a side hustle, and the entrepreneur who really has a future vision to build something that's even bigger than themselves. So I love that you asked this, because I think that if you had asked me this 10 years ago when we first met, I probably wouldn't have been able to answer it. And I probably wouldn't have really had a distinction between the two either. So this question is deep, is what I'm trying to
Ah.
say. So to me, a serial entrepreneur is someone who really has their heart into the business that they create.
Mm.
And they feel like there's a possibility that this can solve so many problems for people in whatever space that they're in, and it can expand and grow, and they can really make a difference. Those are the types of entrepreneurs that I really like to work with because there's longevity. Whereas with the business owner, they are looking to make a quick buck for a particular reason. So this might be monetary, or they just see a trend and they want to make it happen. And the distinct difference between these two different clients is that I notice the business owner or the person who just wants a structure to create something that makes them money or a
Mhm.
side hustle, they are looking to solve an immediate problem. You know, like maybe I need more money, or they're looking to hop onto a trend. And usually the personality of these people is that they need something now and they need it done fast and as cheap as they can. Those are probably not the right client for me to work with because I feel like there's so many other ways that they can create something that scales for them really fast in the way that they want. I like to work with the person that you describe, which is the serial entrepreneur or the person who aspires to be a serial entrepreneur, because there's heart and soul behind it. And for me, it's a bigger challenge to solve. You know, I can create, or anyone can create, a very formulaic marketing business strategy campaign or website for someone who just needs to sell a product or who needs to do something like that. But oftentimes, someone who is a serial entrepreneur, they most likely have a service-based business where they're providing value for people, helping people solve problems. And those are very unique. You know, every industry is different. Every person and the way that they are is different, which means that the team that they build around them, the systems that they build around them, the tools that they need are going to be different every single time. For our companies, we only choose to work with certain companies. Like we've learned over time that only certain companies are a fit. And there's a few different components for us to figure out this process of whether we're a fit with a client. We have to really believe in the mission that they're looking to go after or that they've already been moving toward. We have to see their vision and make sure that we can align with it. Because if we can't see their vision, we can't be effective. And also, we have to have it's interesting. It's like these intuitive feelings of how we can collaboratively create campaigns and things for the client that will make them visible and unique. And that isn't something that you would find in a formulaic ads, 1, 2, 3 system type of campaign. You know, everything is really custom tailored. You know, in the beginning, we'll get to know our clients, make sure that we are very clear about who they are, what they're looking to accomplish, and what their value, their unique value they provide to their space in the industry. And then from there, we customize everything. So it's really a process of getting to know people. You know, it's a people business. So whether they're selling a product online or whether they're providing a service-based business, it's all about the relationship we're creating with them, their willingness to give their expertise of what they do and educate us on that, and their willingness to connect really authentically with the audience they're looking to provide services or products to. And there's the difference between serial entrepreneurship and business ownership, where a business owner, they might not care who's buying their product. They want to sell to as many people, the masses, or as much volume as they can so they can make a bottom line. or create this retirement plan for themselves in the long run. But a serial entrepreneur is going to approach this whole process in a completely different way that's very methodical, thought out, and they want to know what all their options are. They're going to ask questions. They are going to engage with, they're going to give us their ideas, even though we're the experts, and we're going to collaboratively create something together. Sorry, that was really long, but I just felt so compelled by your
I love
question.
it. No, I love that because I sincerely believe that one, it needs to be a clear line when we are communicating our brand. And it needs to be instinctly understood who's the best match and why we do what we do, with whom we do what we do, with and for. I thought while you were speaking, and feel free to cut this out, I'd love an example. I'd love to use me as an example of, just I just want to know. So you can keep it or not, but I want to hear what that connection is, and you, in your differences when you use the pro and the differentiation.
Between the serial entrepreneur and
Mm,
the business owner.
yes,
How about if I give an example of how every situation is unique?
yes.
Like, okay, so you mentioned that. I'll just say, hold on, let me preface this. So before we started this, no, let me. How do I want to say this? Because I'm not sure if that part where I would love to give you, where you said I would love to give you an example, is going to cut well. So maybe I should have you just restate it. Say, I would love for you to give an example of the, yeah, of this, yeah.
I would love for you to give an example of the business owner, entrepreneur that
You
you'd
want,
like to.
oh, the serial entrepreneur is what you're
Yeah.
talking about.
Yes.
Okay, can you say that again?
I would love it if you'd give us an example of the serial entrepreneur that you connect with.
Um, well, the first one that comes to mind, because we're here together, is yourself. So if it's okay, I will share about you and how we had to create a very unique way of working together, or how can I say? So I'll give an example of our working relation.
Mhm.
Ah,
I'll give an example of our working relationship, past, current, present,
okay. So
simple.
since you and I are doing this interview together and we work together, I would love to give an example of how we work with you and how we've been able to create a personalized way of promoting, or a personalized way of bringing brand awareness to
Mm.
your business. Is that okay with you?
That's awesome. Thank you.
Okay, good. So I've known Dawnn Hills since 2000. No, let me not date it. So I've known Dawnn Hills for quite a long time now. And, we've worked alongside each other in our businesses and we've grown together and over time been each other's client. And when Dawn came to me within the past couple years and said, "Hey, I really want you to support me with my social media. I have this idea to create this show, Beat Poverty in America, and I just need help. I need to figure this out, and I need to do it now." What was really interesting to me about that was, if any of you know Dawn Hills, she's loving, outgoing, big personality, and she's just this presence, right? Like if you're in Oakland, you most likely know who Dawn Hills is. And if you're in any of the industries that she touches, you know who she is. And the thing that was so interesting about this, when we started, was that what I saw was that we needed to bring Dawn Hills as this person that everybody knows to a different platform that she's never been on before in the way that she's on now. So Dawnn's been on LinkedIn and Alignable and all of these different platforms typing to y'all, but she's never been on camera speaking to y'all. So what I began to discover as we started this process, like I was sensing the nerves, and I was just like, what is this about? And like coaching her through, these different, when we're doing the video and things. And I realized like, wow, you can never make an assumption about who someone is. Business owner, entrepreneur, friend, like you can never make an assumption of who they're going to be in a different space. So what I saw was that there was a certain level of coaching. There was a certain level of making sure that she was very clear about the entire process and how this is all going to happen so that she can show up and bring her authentic self. And the fact that we knew each other for all these years really helped, because I said to Dawnn one day, I said, hey, I get that you're this person live I get that in person you show up like this and your energy is out there. I want you to bring that to the camera because it's not coming through. And Dawnn didn't realize that. She didn't realize that she was in front of the camera saying, hi, I'm Dawnn Hills. And, like talking like a robot. So when you get to know someone, like, when you get to know a client and you start to get a sense of who they are in person versus where you have to take them to, you understand that there's certain things you have to put in place, a certain level of clarity, certain level of tools, training, and all of that so that the client can bring their most authentic self or their company's most authentic self to all of these platforms. So when Dawnn's talking about personalization and what we do with our clients, that's really what it's all about. And that building the relationship and getting to know the client is really what has you interpret and understand intuitively who they are and then be able to coach them through all along the entire way. Does that make sense, Dawnn?
Oh my God, you did that so well. And I also have to share through our relationship the bond that we've created as entrepreneurs, serial entrepreneurs, passionate about what we do. You just can't put a dollar on it. You can't touch it, but it's so palatable that you can feel it. It's palpable. That's the word, palpable, that you can feel it. And I needed that in order to do what I'm doing. And I'm going to tell a secret right now. I looked at I created actually a YouTube page 4 years ago. I did not have the courage to launch because I didn't have the relationship I felt I needed to launch with the right person. And as you've evolved and we've come back together, I'm so excited to have the opportunity to do it with you because your authenticity and your work, your passion, and your humility really allows the entrepreneur to fail forward, for lack of better word, feel comfortable doing it until we get it into a space where it will represent that entrepreneur in its best light. And that is a skill that I am extremely, extremely grateful for. Because I don't or won't move unless I have someone that moves me. If that makes sense.
Thank you. That's super heartfelt. Yeah, and that, you talked about bring the entrepreneur like in their best light. That's what it's all about, because I acknowledge and I've observed from different companies and what they do, or people a lot of entrepreneurs complaining about the types of service that they receive from other people. And there have been a lot of times during my career in marketing and strategy and web development that I've thought about quitting, because we were at a point of, failure or lack of money, and like all these different challenges came up. But what I'd always tell myself is, if I'm not going to do it, who will? Because I've seen so many entrepreneurs go to other vendors for services and be abandoned or not receive the level of attention that they really need. And I work with a really great team of people who really care and they're passionate about what they do. So, when we get that every single client that comes across when we are approached by potential clients and I'm so moved by what they're up to and the mission that they're looking to achieve in the world, it's like, all right, let's go. We don't have enough people. Let's hire more people. Let's build a massive team so we can support as many people as we can, and let's have fun doing this because people need this.
It's so true. I'm so grateful, and I wanna manage respect, because you can't manage time. I want to respect your time and appreciate everything that you bring, and I absolutely adore you. And this is going to be online forever. And I want everyone to know this is a person that will do your branding to such a depth and level that you won't even realize how much she has gotten of you and brought out of you for the world to see how phenomenal you are. She's
Thank
so
you.
good at it. I mean, I remember it was, I specifically remember about 6 years ago when I realized, oh my gosh, she's asking me for colors. She's asking me what I like. She's asking me all of these questions. And I'm like, why? Don't we just do it? And she educated me, and it moved me to open up or have courage to create a YouTube page, but not move forward without her to do the YouTube page. There's no one that I would have worked with to get this done. So thank you so much,
Uh,
because I was extremely afraid.
yeah, I know. I was surprised. I had no clue. But yeah, once we turned that camera on, I was like, oh, okay. Now I get why this is so important to her.
And the trust, you can't buy that, you can't bottle that. And that's what I'd like my audience to really get, if they don't get anything else from this conversation, is that you bring your whole self and you allow them in a space that they can create and play in, to brand themselves in a space that is conducive to success for what they want.
Thank you.
No,
And
thank
you're
you.
you're welcome. I'm honored to work on your projects.
Yay. But with
Yeah.
that, I'd like you to close us out with 30 seconds of one thing that you want your audience, our audience, to take away from our conversation and time together.
One thing that I'd like everyone to get is the importance of really bringing your whole self, your company values, hold on, I'm starting over. One thing that I'd really like people to get is the importance of making sure that your web presence, and this is your social media, your website, anywhere that you're showing up, really expresses who and uh, one thing that one thing that I'd like to share with the audience is the importance of really bringing your true, authentic self, your company values, and what you really have to offer to everywhere you show up online. And, I see this time and time again where companies scale, they're doing really well, they build a team, and over time, their web presence, their brand, all of that kind of stays in the background.
Mhm.
And so then your colleagues refer clients to you, potential new clients go to your website, and it doesn't say who you are at all. There are things that are missing, services that you offer that you didn't offer before. The paragraph of text about your company is from 5 years ago. And I get, from my own experience, I get that over time when you scale, those things don't tend to matter anymore. But you have so much value to offer, and you have solutions for your clients' problems. So why not make sure that they choose you over your competitors because of your authenticity?
Mm.
So, and it doesn't mean that you need to go out and spend a whole bunch of money with, the first branding agency that you find. The very first thing you need to do is just look at your web presences, read them, and say, does this reflect who I am? Because if it doesn't, then maybe I need to make a few changes.
That is a wonderful nugget to close with, because I don't know. I know I do it when I make changes. I go across all of my platforms because I've been on LinkedIn and all
Mhm.
of the different mediums that I have worked on over the years. And I know the consistency has to be there, but I don't know that that's a natural muscle. So thank you so much for that. Thank you
You're
so much
welcome.
for that. And that ends our time here with Beat America, Beat America.
Beat America.
Because that's really what I want to do. Beating poverty in America
Okay.
with
Can,
Dawnn
so
Hill.
can you start it from the beginning so I could just have a clean cut? That's our time.
And that is our time with Geraldine Convento. And I am honored to say thank you for joining me on Beat Poverty in America.